on this call. I appreciate your time. I know we're both so busy, and it's really fun that I got to get to know you in the mountain biking world, but also that I get to through ski biking. And that's why we're here today. Talk about ski biking. Yay! Um, you have been an inspiration and you're really good at it. You're talented at it. And you've inspired me to join the sport. And so I think it's worth talking about. You and your husband have been a part of this industry for quite some time now. And I think getting your perspective on the sport is really important to show the rest of the women and people in this world that they can start ski biking too, and that it's a fun sport when you don't have something to do in the winter if you're not a skier or a snowboarder. Right now in Colorado, we're kind of in this in between limbo between, is it mountain bike season yet, or do we continue skiing? And with ski biking, it's kind of both, the best worlds. And so I'm really excited to sit here and talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. In your own words, tell me what a ski bike is and how you ride it and how you get on the lift with it and all that good stuff.
That is a loaded question, my friend. So, a ski bike is essentially a bike frame with two skis instead of tires. There's two pegs, so you stand on the pegs. So you are off the ground. You have a higher center of gravity. Your feet, again, are off the ground. And the bike is engineered to sit next to you on the lift. So it counts as another person and just takes a seat right next to you.
Nice. And does that affect how the lifties help control the line during ski season, or they're just like, go for it, like have at it, get on this lift?
I think at certain resorts it's different. We're not accepted at every resort still. So there's still some resorts that are more concerned than others and have different procedures. But Purgatory specifically is pretty used to us. So they will instruct people if people try and merge in, singles try and hop on, they'll tell people, that only so many people can ride the lift at that time. So pretty good.
Yeah.
It flows pretty well. And then people oftentimes are just intimidated to load on the lift with us. So, you might get a whole chair to yourself. That's not uncommon. So
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. It's pretty funny. Awesome. So how did you get into ski biking and how many years have you been doing this?
I grew up skiing and snowboarding, and when I met my husband, he actually was on a ski bike. So watched him, snowboarded beside him, and then picked it up, rented one, and tried for the first year or two. I definitely didn't pick it up right away. Um, and it's been 12 years now. So eventually just phased out, stopped going back to the truck for my snowboard, and I can't imagine doing anything other than ski biking anymore. I just love it so much.
Yeah, in 12 years, you've probably seen the sport change a lot and see it kind of evolve into what it is now and hopefully see kind of where it's going. So that's pretty cool. That's a long time to be, committed to a sport for sure. What are some differences or similarities that you see between ski biking and mountain biking? Would you say that it's definitely different, or there are some similarities in how you ride it and how you go about it?
I would say almost that we discussed this, you and I, when we were at the resort together. I do feel that riding a dirt bike or a downhill mountain bike should almost be a prerequisite. Um, it's not necessary, but obviously it helps immensely. It also helps immensely if you have experience on the snow. So, for instance, if you can rip it on a dirt bike and a downhill mountain bike, but you have never ripped it on snow, you're going to be terrified and it's not going to go over too well.
Yeah, there's high consequences for
Yeah.
sure.
I would say that, weight distribution and form and just similarities in approach between those two things for sure. And
Yeah,
where you're looking, looking where you want to go, not.
yeah, we talked about that earlier too. Yeah, point your eyes forward and go.
Yeah. If you're
Yeah,
looking at what you don't want to go towards, you're going to go towards that. So,
yeah, yeah. That's similar as mountain biking. You want to look for your next goal for sure. Now on a ski bike, there's no brakes. There's no hand brakes or feet brakes. How do you stop?
hmm. So stopping is similar to skiing. You skid to stop. A lot of the control, I would say, comes from your back ski. And a lot of people are probably like, that's great. So how do you use your back ski? Um, a lot of that is in the hips, weight distribution as well. And again, depending on the snow, there's just completely different ways to ride in different conditions. And yeah.
Yeah. And you had mentioned one time when we were talking that there's different types of bikes out there. There's not just one type of ski bike.
Correct.
What is your definition or your preference in when riding a ski bike?
Hmm. My preference is partial to the Lens ski bikes. That's what I
Okay.
lived on. That's what I've always ridden. I
Mhm.
have sat on a few of the other ski bikes, and the geometry is completely different, So it really, some people are preferential to a different brand. So I wouldn't say that somebody should not try another bike by any means. Everybody has their own preference, and it's what you feel
Yeah.
comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like any bike that you would go
Yeah,
demo.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I like how that's similar as well. So I tried looking up women and ski bikes all over articles, whatever I could find about it. And there's really not a lot that talks about women being on the ski bikes or even wanting to try it. And so, from your point of view, what does the future look like for this sport? Do you see it as going somewhere? Is it just in its baby phase and it's about to expand? What are your thoughts on that?
Mhm. I would say I have spoken with Devin from Lens Ski Bikes as well. He's asked me, to take more photos and to help him with some marketing material because he has women call interested in ski bikes and he has nothing to show for women on not just his ski bikes, but a lot of the other companies also are struggling with
Sure.
that.
Mhm.
I would say, with anything else, it's hard to be inspired to do something, especially in a sport, if you don't see somebody else doing it. Not saying that women aren't capable by any means, but I do feel
Yeah,
like if there was more out there, it would inspire more women to have a place in the sport. And I think because there isn't a lot of that, or there's not much out there, I think women just maybe assume they can't, or it's just not attainable. It's expensive to rent. It's difficult to find people who have what you need to get started. I know there's not
totally.
a lot of people instructing. It can be terrifying if you don't learn the correct way. So there's a lot of things like that I think hold a lot of people back.
Yeah, I mean, I myself wouldn't have gotten into it unless I had met you and had the opportunity to be introduced to people who have bikes I can use and just kind of put myself out there. So I think it's important for us to talk about it because it's a really fun sport. And I think it's good to find that support. And I believe you're the person to do that.
It's a blast.
um, ASA, you had mentioned before, is the American Ski Bike Association. They put on a couple of events around the states, summer, and especially they're having their 21st annual ski bike race at Purgatory coming up at the end of February. And kind of walk me through what that looks like. Who comes? How do you prep for the race? Is it like prepping for a mountain bike race? And what does your day look like when you're doing that?
So I would say, first of all, it is the 21st annual ski bike rally, but it hasn't been an official race every single year. So it was more like a group ride and an event, a meet, to meet other riders, and people travel, from all over the US. I know that there are some people internationally as well that are starting to get involved with other events, which is really cool. So the family, so to speak, is growing. And
Yeah.
the crowd and athletes and all of it's growing, so that's really cool to see all that support in the community. uh,
Yeah.
the day looks like a riders meet at the beginning. They go over the events for the day. So there's certain heats, there's certain brackets, and then usually there's some sort of lunch or, some sort of break
Oh,
in between.
yeah.
Sometimes there's a group ride that everybody meets up for. And then into the evening, usually, there's some sort of get together where everybody just kind of has a chance to have a beer and connect
Yeah.
and meet other riders and that sort of thing. So the
That's cool.
I would say it's similar to a mountain bike race in the sense that, if you're riding before, you have time to prepare before, ideally in the season. It's typically always late February for us at Purgatory. So it's not the beginning of the season like it would be for some other states. So we have some time to ride usually before. I
Yeah.
personally don't travel to the other races. As of right now, it's just not feasible for me, but there are some people that are able to travel to others. And, so their training looks a lot different. They have probably, more time that they need to prepare for it. But
Yeah.
for myself, I feel like, I obsess in January, particularly in February, and get up there as much as I can and just ride as much as I can. And a lot of that's just a passion for the sport too. This is the second year that I'll be racing, and it's the first or the second official race. So it's it's not something I've had a lot of time to obsess over, I guess. More than anything else, it's
Yeah.
just, fun, and we always look forward to it every year. So it doesn't feel too much different. It just feels like something else that's thrown into the mix. We're able to race, like it's kind of exciting. Like
Yeah.
I like to go fast, so I think it's fun.
I think it's fun too. I noticed the difference on their flyer this year was that there wasn't a women's class last year, but now there is this year because of people saying, hey, there needs to be a women's group for this. And
Yeah.
so that's exciting. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I feel like, I mean, 10, 10 of these years, I have been the only girl. And I would say there's one other girl, Kira, I've seen at the events otherwise, but it's usually just her and I, at least at the Purgatory event. And you and our friend Jessica and another friend of ours, Jessica, got a bike. And there's a few bikes available between all of us, and when our husbands aren't necessarily able to go, we can like lend it to our girlfriends. So that's really convenient, really nice. We appreciate you, husbands, for being so gracious and
Yeah.
giving us that opportunity. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's awesome.
I wanted to mention too, I forgot to ask so you have this race that's coming up. Who are you guys out there building the track yourself before this event, or does somebody come in on the mountain? Does Purgatory put guys together for this? Who helps put that track together so that it's official?
So this again is the second year of our official ski bike cross. And I'd like to thank, yes, ski bike cross. And I'd like to thank USASA for letting us play with the beauty of what they've created for their event. They let us play on it.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it. I don't think that we would have much to go with if they didn't do that for us. So it's amazing.
Mhm.
Definitely brings it all to a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's awesome. I used to snowboard competitively, and USASA was who I did that through. So yeah, kudos to them. They're cool. Good organization for sure.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Um, in your own words, and be as honest as you want, what is your favorite thing about ski biking and favorite thing about mountain biking, or are they the same?
They're nothing the same. I mean, it's a completely different world in both things. There are similarities for sure, and obviously both give you a little bit of an adrenaline rush, So um, I would say, to help people envision, let's just put it this way. I'm going to paint a picture. So downhill mountain biking, you're going real fast and you got to concentrate, and you're being conscious of where you're going next, and you're choosing your line, and there's obstacles and things that you definitely got to be cautious of. Now there are some of those things with ski biking, but especially on a powder day, like there's nothing like it. You just pin it and like let your fork just heat it up, and you can go really freaking fast.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it's really important that you know what you're doing.
Yeah. It's like floating in the clouds when you're in the powder.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. It's not the same. It's so fun. Yeah. So last question, but not least, where do you see yourself going with ski baking? Are you gonna stick to just doing what you're doing and go to these events every year, or are you gonna try to coach or start your own program with it? I know that's like putting you on the spot, but I believe in you, and I think it's a really cool thing.
Um, Everyone, this is Kelsey, and she is my very first client in my ski bike coaching career. Yeah. I I'm really humbled, that you have so much faith in me for that. I also, I'm always still learning, and I think that's a big part of it too, is, there's some of us that coach mountain biking, but then it's also, it's different, but there is nobody who's been properly accredited to coach ski biking. And I don't really know what that looks like. But again, somebody's got to do it at some point for sure. I certainly do not mind teaching people how to do it, especially the right way, and especially my friends, because we have so much fun.
Yeah, I'm sure that could probably like not ruin it, but change it a little if you started making it a job more than a hobby. I could see where that could go, but yeah, I mean, I thought that way with coaching. Like I love coaching mountain biking, but it's just grown. The passion has just grown and grown and grown. So
Yeah.
it's it's cool to inspire people and bring them into the sport that you're passionate about. And so that's really cool.
I think
Yeah.
we need a purgatory to buy in on some ski bikes so we can, so that's more possible. It's just really
Yeah.
expensive for people to pay for coaching as well as a rental,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for as much time as it would take properly to learn, like you're not going to pick it up in a day or 2 days or, probably even your first season. You're probably
No.
going to roll into your second season scared again, and forget the things that you learned. And that's just the
Yeah.
reality. You
Yeah.
just have that momentum and consistency and remember, be a sponge.
Soak it all in. Well, this has been really awesome. I want to thank you for your time. I can't wait to share this information with everybody. And yeah, thank you so much, Jen. Appreciate it.
Kelsey.
Yay. Okay.